Welcome everybody to the Martinsville Parks and Recreation Board of Trustees meeting. It is 6:02. Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's do the roll call. Robin McDaniel, present. Michael Pratt.
Present.
Jason Scott.
Present.
Chuck Smith.
Present.
And Rachel Tuttle.
Present.
Perfect. Claims and appropriations. Those. Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about the pool flooded, the pump?
Yeah, that pump stopped working last year. We had another that was going out, so we had to end up replacing those pumps this year. Any other questions for Ashley on the docket, on the claims? Let's have a motion on the claims, please.
I make a motion to accept the February 2026 claims and appropriations.
Rachel makes the first motion.
I'll second.
Jason seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's look at the minutes. See if it is as we remember. And since Michael's typing it in as we speak, it should be.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to accept the February 2026 minutes.
Okay, Jason makes the first,
I'll second.
and Chuck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to personnel matters. Doesn't look like we have any hirings or retirements or terminations. There's nothing listed under old business right now. So let's look at the reports. Let's do the superintendent's grounds report.
Okay, I will be out this Thursday for my MCLA class. Luke will also be out on Thursday. He's attending a maintenance expo show / class. There's classes to take while you're there as well. Luke and I will be attending the Southern District meeting for IPRA on Monday. So Stacy will, of course, be there to man the office and Eli for the grounds. We have had 5 interviews for the facility team lead position. We have 2 more scheduled for tomorrow, and then we will wrap up that process. Our plan is to narrow it down to 2 to 3 candidates and have them come back and spend a little time with Eli. Eli will show them our facilities, the shop, and ask them some questions too. And then we plan to make our final decision next week with that position. The city is going to take care of the tree at Doris Daly. I don't know if you guys, I know Michael and Rob and I have talked about it, but there's a dead tree at Doris Daly. I talked to Mac Dunn, and the city is gonna take care of that for us.
Do we know if we're gonna be able to like potentially replace, I know we're not gonna be able to replace a full-grown tree, but I know we've had a couple trees at Doris Daly that have come down either in storms or died just of natural
Yeah.
age as this particular tree has. Are we looking at potentially replacing them with maybe a sapling or something like that? We've looked at like contacting Indiana, the Hoosier National Forest, or sometimes those guys give trees away to parks. I didn't know if we'd looked at giving something, because what was nice about North City is that they had a lot of hardwoods. There were oaks and ashes, and they were some of the older hardwood trees like that. I just didn't know if we'd had any opportunity to think about that yet.
Yeah, we haven't. I'll write this down though, and I'll check into it, because we have had another request, of course, to replace a comparable tree in there when that one comes down. Because we have had, like you said, pieces fall from there too in the past. So we'll definitely look into that and get, see what we can do to get something else over there. This really isn't on the groundskeeper report, but because we're talking about trees, we do have a couple at the park that are very close to shelter houses and very dangerous for us to do it because we don't have the proper equipment, our bucket truck. So we do have a tree service coming out to cut down a couple of our bigger trees. One is right behind shelter 3, and then the other one is over there by shelter 9. So we plan to get those down. Hopefully next week, we plan to get a couple volunteers to help with that cleanup mess when those get taken down. We are gonna do the cleanup ourselves just to save on the cost of them. But they'll have to bring a bucket truck to kind of take care of those for us.
Have we pondered selling firewood?
We have had that request a lot, and I know that we've kind of briefly mentioned it in the past. We're not against it. We have a lot of firewood. We weren't sure how that would look with, money going through the city. Is there any rules against that? Do you know?
I wouldn't see it as any different than selling concessions.
Okay.
Myself, now I'm an educator, not a lawyer.
Yeah.
So, but I know the big rule in the state of Indiana is it can't leave the county in which it originated. That is a big deal about firewood, trying to keep emerald ash borer in particular and some other non-native invasive insects from getting into forests outside of the county. But I realize it's just something to ponder. Like, even if it was here's it just cut up, you guys can split your own and load your own and take it away, X number of dollars. It could be a benefit to the community for them to, and it would be a benefit potentially to us to have. Here's some of our storm cleanup. Here's some trees we've had to take down because they were in a dangerous spot, and you guys can use it. I know most of our forest up there and our woods up there is maple, which isn't great for firewood, but if it's inexpensive, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Well, I can check with the city just to verify we're not doing anything that we shouldn't, because we have talked about that. We have clearly our share of wood down, and we were using it for shelter rentals, but with all the chimneys being in what condition, we haven't been able to use firewood in there for a couple of years now, so that takes away any need that we really had for it.
I would only watch out, obviously, make sure nobody's cutting it or anything like that on city grounds.
Yeah, if you're loading it in a trailer, loading it in your truck and taking it home, or like just as it sits, you can load it. So, we have to think about our guys cutting it into 24 to 36 inch rounds or whatever, but.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the clerk's office and see if there's any rules against that they know of. So we have, this kind of goes with our sponsorship update. We have collected $850 in sponsorship for the Easter egg hunt. We have also taken in egg donation, candy donations for that as well already. We have collected $500 in sponsorship dollars for the movie night on May 2nd. That movie will be shown at the park, and it's the Cars movie. The tread trimmers are coming out, set up cars. We're saving boxes, so if you guys come across any big cardboard boxes, we can say we're gonna let kids kind of decorate their own car for a drive-in type movie. So if you guys have any boxes, hold on to them for us, please. We also have collected $500 in sponsorship dollars for the adaptive swim night that we're doing in June. So, of course, we're looking for more sponsors for those things, but I feel like we're off to a good start, being where we are in
Did
the
you say
year.
adaptive swim night? or- So this is for individuals with disabilities?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. We're working, it's for individuals with disabilities and their caregivers. We're working, Visit Warren County is our sponsor for that, but we're also working with the League of Miracles, who is helping us put it on. So we make sure, we do everything the best that we can to keep everybody safe. So we created a flyer and then we sent it to League of Miracles and kind of let them, because they have a waiver for these type of things, they're going to be responsible for the waiver portion of it. And we're opening up registration on May 4th for that event. We, of course, have done removal of downed trees and general cleanup around the park. We have been busy planning summer activities, pool, nature nights, pickleball tournaments, and the craft fair. Currently, we have 6 teams signed up for our April 11th pickleball tournament, and we have 16 vendors signed up for our May 2nd craft fair. So May 2nd, we'll do a craft fair in the day. We'll have the movie that night. Applications and interview process for the pool staff and seasonal staff has started. I started interviewing seasonal staff this week, being seasonal mowers, weed eaters, security, and weekend cleaning. Luke and I are starting. We have some evening pool staff interviews next week, and then the week after, over spring break, we have pretty much every afternoon we have kiddos coming in to interview with us. We're not hiring a ton for concession stands because we have 20 concession stand kiddos returning, so we only have about 5 open spots for them and possibly 10 new guards, but most of our guards that just got certified last year is returning too, so we are in a pretty decent spot this year with staff. The red truck needed some more work. Eli thought he knew what was wrong with it, but we went ahead and took it to Ford of Bloomington, who fixed it last time, because we thought it was having some of the same issues happen. You guys know, just, a little over a year, or going on 2 years ago, the problems it had. So we paid them $200 to kind of diagnose it, but they thought the same thing that Eli thought, so we brought it back, and Eli changed out spark plugs, plug wires, and coils on it. That truck has never ran great. It still isn't running great after all the money we've put into it. I think it gets the job done for what we're doing. We never take that truck really out of Martinsville because we don't feel comfortable doing so. If we need to go pick up supplies or something, we just try to take one of the other vehicles.
And what do we have truck-wise up there right now?
We have the Ford F-50 with the dump bed, then we have the red Ford, and then we have the Ford 150, which is kind of more like if we go to classes, conferences, if we go to the clerk's office, we use the smaller white truck for those things.
We've had the red Ford for a while. Do you remember what year it is?
It's a 2011, and I, of course, wasn't here then. I don't know was that bought brand new? Do you know? Or
I think it probably was. That was, because it was, when I started serving on the board, and I don't remember how long ago that was now. That was the park truck even then. So that has been quite a while. We're talking a 15-year-old truck. I don't know how many miles are on it, but I don't know.
it doesn't have I know I haven't checked it recently, but I know when we fixed it before, because we talked about is it worth fixing or not. I think at that time, even the age it was, there was only, if I recall from our conversations, it was like 67,000 miles. And of course, we don't take that truck far, so, maybe a little over 70
Right.
now, but I can check that.
But it's had a lot of problems.
We've had a lot of problems with it, and it shakes. I think when Adam was there, he changed the spark plugs a couple different times, and you shouldn't go through spark plugs that quickly, and Eli just had to change them and the wiring for it again. So I've had that truck die on me just driving through town. Stopped at a stoplight, it would start back up. I finally got it, but that's why we keep it in Martinsville. We don't take it far. So just laying that out there, because if something major happens to it again, we might need to look into our other options. We had just a couple of small roof repairs on the main office roof. We noticed, Stacey and I noticed it a couple weeks ago, when you walk into the office, there's that light switch on the left. The wood by it was wet, which was really odd, and so we kind of checked into it, couldn't find anything. Well, when we had all that rain last week, we noticed that that wood was soaking wet by that outlet. So Eli got up on the roof, and that's where it was coming from. So he did some caulking. He said it looks like the flashing around the chimney might need to be redone. He also insulated, we had another leak in the office, so he also like re-insulated the entire attic in the office over the last couple weeks. So that is taking care of the other leak that was towards the back side of the building, where this one coming through the outlet is the front part of the building. Easter egg stuffing has started. I think Luke and Stacey have been working on that. I think they already got over 1,000 eggs stuffed. We have a group coming in to help volunteer some time on Friday and stuff eggs for us. Eli's also started working on repairs for Shelter 3. He's cleaned it really well. He's repainting the shelter houses before we open them back up for the inside of them before we open them back up for the season, and some smaller repairs that needed to be done in there. So he's worked on Shelter 3 first just to get ready for when we have camp this summer in it. Items to be completed in the next couple weeks. Of course, we'll finish Easter prep, make sure lawnmowers are ready for the season. The 60 inches put back together, it does run. Eli's not confident that he thinks it will run for very long. We just haven't, we've had snow, so we haven't really had a chance to take it out very much, but it is put back together and it does start. Again, he said he doesn't want to get our hopes up. That'll get us through. With the rain that we've had and the sunshine we've had we are gonna have to start mowing sooner than we would typically like to. I did trash pickup at Outer Parks yesterday. They could probably all use to be mowed now, actually. But I know it's supposed to, get cold again next week and snow, but after that we might have to go ahead and start mowing for the season. Before we meet again, we'll host our pickleball tournament. We'll host our Easter egg hunt. We'll host our first lifeguard class for the season. We're gonna host our first movie club night. That starts next Wednesday night. We'll have pool interviews wrapped up, pool house cleaning, and right now, weather permitting, March 20th is the date to get the straw bales removed from the hill.
What day?
March 20th.
What do we do with the straw? I know there's been some conversation in the past about what happens with that, but I didn't.
I took it to the street department last year.
Okay.
So they let me leave it there. That's what I plan to do this year. I also have reached out to the fire department about doing a controlled burn, where everything has been dumped over the years, and they said that shouldn't be a problem, so we're waiting to get on their calendars for that. So hopefully with that will clean up some of, I don't know how many years of straw bales and.
There's some big stacks.
Yes.
Tucked away in some spots back in the
Yes.
part of the park.
And when you just drive up there, you don't notice it, but when you're hiking on that backside, you can see it all, and it doesn't look good. So yeah, I did reach out to them a couple months ago about scheduling a controlled burn and getting some of that taken care of.
I didn't know if we could use some of it on some of our trails, to kind of help with erosion or whatever.
It's typically, after the winter, it's really, a lot of it's molded and wet just from all the snow. I had some at my house for an event in the fall, some that we had gotten from a friend, and I busted one the other day, gonna use it for my chickens, and even that one just sitting outside of my house was too gross in the middle for it. So I know in the past, that's why we've gotten rid of them, just because they get moldy and gross in there.
Okay.
We did have somebody request some, and we explained to them that they're gross, but if they were willing to come and get them, they could take them if they wanted to. I don't know if we, encouraged them not to by telling them that they were, I don't know what you'll do with them really, but. The shelter, of course, we talked about the current sponsorships we have received already. You'll see the facility use, again, it's just Shelter 1 until May 1st. From February 1st to February 28th, it was booked 11 times and brought in $1,750 for the month of February. And then the pool shelter house, these are the individuals who rented it. Of course, it's over the summer, but this is how many times we rented the pool in the month of February. So you can see that it has brought in $2,400. It's the amount of rentals we've taken for the pool in the month of February.
Nice.
So that's pretty much booked up for the season. Shelter 1 is There might be a couple dates here and there, but that's pretty much booked up for the weekends for the remainder of the year as well, too. We had, I don't think I talked to you guys about this. I had to go to city council meeting last week, but to gather my information for that, we did 708 shelter house rentals last year at the park. So that was, you know you do a lot, and you know your team does a lot, but when you put it in numbers, and you know, you put, hey, if we rented shelter houses 708 times, you know, it really puts things into perspective. So we were pleased, you know, with the amount of times they're getting rented. It's a lot of work.
So it's 708?
Yeah, shelter rentals is what we did for the year 2025.
All right, new business. Ashley would like to do a discussion about changing the job title of the recreation and aquatic specialist.
So you guys know we've had some pushback about this job title over the past year. If you read the job description, everyone knows that it includes far more than just if you read the title what you think it does. And it doesn't, it could be assistant superintendent if you guys felt good about that. It doesn't have to be, and this is nothing I want us to vote on tonight. I was told if we choose to change the job title, we kind of need to do that and update that title in the salary ordinance all at the same time. And I was told for when we mess with the salary ordinance, we have to give a 10-day notice. So we couldn't do it at this time anyways. So not that any decisions, I'm not asking for any decisions to be made tonight. If you guys have different titles in mind that you think would be good to cover that responsibility and the other responsibilities, it's just a discussion to see what your guys' thoughts are on it. I mean, you know, this title does far more. I mean, they also help with the maintenance side of things because we are such a small staff and they are handy with those things. They help with events, which I mean, the recreation part covers that. But they do far more work than just the pool. It's not like they're just working the months that the pool are open.
And that's where the confusion came in.
Yes.
Correct. So that's where, like, she was getting a little bit of pushback because it sounded like just the pool, just those sort of things. And so I think she was thinking a little bit about
And even though I think
whether we need to change it back to the assistant superintendent or if we need to come up with a different title, it's all encompassing.
And even if it was just the pool, which it's not, I think people don't realize, you see that the pool's open May to August, you don't realize that you start planning for the pool January, February, and you don't wrap up the pool until October by the time you close and winterize it. So it really is much, yes, and it really is much larger than just, I think, what people think that it is. Even if it was just the pool, but again, there's so much more with this job than that.
Any thoughts? Chuck, you and Michael have been around a long time. As far as jobs and things like that, the park was used before. It was assistant superintendent, correct? And then we changed it to this.
Yeah, we've had assistant superintendent, we've had, oh goodness. I mean, I guess my question would be, would assistant superintendent be appropriate for everything that that the particular job and job description covered? Does that match well, or are we looking at maybe even something?
So I actually also asked the clerk's office this because I read through, it's just, I feel like this whole situation is just odd because we are such a small department already and we all wear so many hats. So I read through, I brought up the old assistant superintendent job description and I brought up their recreation and aquatic specialist. And that's something, you know, I can email those out and we can read through again too. A lot of the assistant superintendent job description is still like the things that I do, because it has a lot of programming and events and the bills and the finances, and I still handle those things. So I read through this recreation and aquatic specialist again, and it is far more consuming than this. So I had asked the clerk's office, do we necessarily have to change the job description? Can we just change the title of it? And they said that we could do that if it still fits. So we could stick with the same job description for recreation and aquatic specialist and just change the job title if we chose to go that direction. But, you know, I've talked to Robin a little bit about this. We've been asked with a 5-year master plan, I had to create a flow chart, an organizational chart. And I did it with exactly like our job titles are now, but I was on a call with them yesterday and I said, well, this is hard for us because, and I still believe this, I said, when we're a full-time staff of, you know, 5 when we hired this next position, I said, we're a full-time staff of 5. I said, when you look at a flow chart, it's hard to say 3 people are in charge when you only have 5 people. So, and you know, like Luke and I are going to divide up the pool this year. I'm going to kind of take more of I've never really given up the admin piece anyways. He's going to take on more of the trainings with the lifeguards and handle the filter room stuff where I still do like the orderings and work with the concession stand and the scheduling. So we break up that piece, but if you look at a flow chart, you know what I mean? It's hard to put all that into a flow chart.
Yeah, because normally, obviously, you would go superintendent, assistant superintendent, and then break off from there. But, and I think kind of what you're saying too is that you're kind of on, like he and Eli are kind of on even ground, and so, you know, to make one, by changing that, kind of makes for an unnecessary division maybe.
And Eli's job title is facility team lead, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just trying to make sure I'm keeping, Robin was right when she said I've been around a while. I keep track of everything in my head, things start to blend together a little.
But that's my thing, where I do think assistant superintendent is a very fitting title, and I do look as that has like, when I'm not there, that's gonna be the person people are gonna go to, that's the backup. But to me, like superintendent, assistant superintendent, and then facility team lead, and then the 2 other people, like that's a lot of steps when there's only 5 of us, I feel like sometimes to get through. But again, I'm for the title. I just think, especially as we're going through this 5-year master plan, it'd be good to sit down and decide, you know. And that's what they said, they'll help us with that too, like who should be doing what. And maybe I just have a hard time wrapping my head around it because we are such a small staff and I'm so used that we all work so well together, you know. It just seems like a lot of steps.
So we're going to table that until next meeting. Do we need to vote on that though, to table it, or?
Actually,
because
if
it's
we're just having discussion, there was no call for a motion, I think we're okay.
So I guess, yeah, think about if you like that job title or if you have another one, and I can send both those job descriptions to you guys if you'd like me to, just so you can overlook them as you think about it before the next meeting. I guess my question would be, and I don't know if this has to be voted on, should I go ahead and prepare a salary ordinance like this, because it all has to be done at the same time? Should I guess that's the question I would have to know, or do we bring it back and talk about it next time, and then I prepare that if everybody's in agreement with it next time?
The only thing that would change in the salary ordinance would be the new job title. Right?
Yes.
I would go ahead and have it just ready to go in case we do choose to change it by our next meeting. That way it's available, we can make the vote. The quicker, kind of the sooner the better, rather than waiting until whenever.
Because really nothing's going to change except that title.
Right.
So, yep. All right, public comments and seeing none, so this meeting is adjourned. The next meeting, can I have a vote on that? I guess I need that. Sorry.
You might want
Might need one. May I have one, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Rachel makes a motion,
I'll second.
and Chuck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next meeting is April the 14th here at City Hall, 6 o'clock. See you then.